Football, a sport loved by millions, where gladiators of the gridiron became legends under the bright lights. The NFL isn't just a league, it's a cultural phenomenon.
See, who flings it back over to Tony. My goodness, this is going for a touchdown.
But behind the touchdowns, championships, and cheers lurks a much darker side. A side few want to acknowledge. Welcome back to 4th and Goal, where today we're going to cover some of the most chilling off-the-field stories that forever changed lives, legacies, and the NFL itself. In a league filled with heroes, we often forget that not every story ends with a victory. Behind some of the brightest stars in the NFL are dark secrets and haunting tragedies that left their mark on the sport forever. From chilling murder plots to shocking suicides, these stories serve as a grim reminder that fame and fortune don't always protect you from life's darker demons. Our first story is one of the most shocking in recent NFL history. Aaron Hernandez, a promising young tight end with the New England Patriots, appeared to be living the dream. Playing for one of the NFL's premier teams, Hernandez had just signed a $40 million contract extension in 2012, solidifying his place in the league. But in June of 2013, everything changed. Hernandez was arrested and charged with the murder of Odin Lloyd, a semi-professional football player who had ties to Hernandez through his fiancée. The investigation revealed chilling details. Hernandez had orchestrated Lloyd's execution-style murder, leading him to a remote location where he was shot multiple times. As the trial unfolded, the country watched in shock. Hernandez, who had been living a life of fame and fortune, was now revealed to have ties to a web of criminal activity, including possible connections to other unsolved murders. Text messages, surveillance footage, and witness testimonies painted a dark picture of a man living a double life. NFL star by day, violent criminal by night. In 2015, Hernandez was found guilty of Lloyd's murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. But the story didn't end there. In April 2017, while still facing additional charges, Hernandez was found dead in his prison cell, having hanged himself. The autopsy later revealed that Hernandez had suffered from severe chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE, raising questions about the impact of repeated head trauma on his violent behavior. The tragic rise and fall of Aaron Hernandez left a lasting stain on the NFL, sparking debates about mental health, CTE, and the pressures placed on players both on and off the field. Ray Lewis is regarded as one of the best linebackers in NFL history, a leader on the field, and a two-time Super Bowl champion with the Baltimore Ravens. But in 2000, Lewis's name became synonymous with scandal when he was charged in connection with a double murder. Following a Super Bowl party in Atlanta, a violent altercation broke out, leaving two men dead from stab wounds. Witnesses claimed that Lewis and his friends had been involved in the fight. Within days, Lewis was arrested and charged with murder. The trial became a media sensation. Lewis, who had always maintained his innocence, pled guilty to obstruction of justice, a lesser charge, after a deal was made with prosecutors. He also testified against his two co-defendants, both of whom were eventually acquitted of the murder charges. Though Lewis walked away without a murder conviction, the case has remained a cloud over his career. Despite his eventual return to dominance on the field, leading the Ravens to a Super Bowl victory and earning Super Bowl MVP honors in 2001, questions have lingered. Ray Lewis continues to be revered for his legendary career, but for many, the events of that night in Atlanta serve as a haunting reminder that even the greatest champions can have dark chapters in their stories. Darren Sharper was once a respected figure in the NFL. As a Pro Bowl safety, he was known for his intelligence on the field and his ability to make game-changing plays. But in 2014, the public's perception of Sharper changed forever when he was arrested and charged with a series of sexual assaults. Sharper's crimes were both chilling and systematic. Over a span of several years, he had been drugging and raping women in multiple states. The accusations painted a horrifying picture. A man who used his fame to lure victims, then preyed upon them in their most vulnerable state. In 2016, Sharper pled guilty to multiple counts of sexual assault and was sentenced to over 20 years in prison. His fall from grace was swift and shocking, and the details of his crimes left many in disbelief. How could someone who had once been celebrated as a leader on the field become one of the most notorious serial rapists in sports history? Darren Sharper's story is not just about a fall from grace, but about the dark power of predatory behavior that went unchecked for too long. His actions devastated lives, forever tarnishing his legacy. Ray Caruth was once a promising young wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers, but in 1999, he would orchestrate one of the most shocking crimes in NFL history, the murder of his pregnant girlfriend, Cherika Adams. On a dark night in November, Caruth led Adams into a trap. As they drove home, a vehicle pulled alongside them and opened fire. Adams, who was 8 months pregnant, was struck multiple times but miraculously managed to call 911, implicating Caruth in the attack.
I've been shot. You've been shot. Where are you at, baby? I'm 8 months pregnant.
How'd this happen?
I was following my baby's daddy, Ray Caruth, the football player.
Where's he at?
He was in the car in front of me, and he slowed down, and somebody pulled up beside me and did this.
And then where'd he go?
He did laugh. I think he did it. I don't know what to think of.
Adams later died from her injuries, but their son, Chancellor Lee Adams, was delivered prematurely and survived, though he suffered permanent brain damage due to the trauma. Caruth fled the scene, but he was later captured and convicted of conspiracy to commit murder. Caruth served nearly 19 years in prison, but his actions left a lasting legacy of pain. Chancellor Adams, now an adult, lives with cerebral palsy, a consequence of the violence that took his mother's life. The story of Ray Caruth is a heartbreaking reminder of the far-reaching consequences of greed, jealousy, and violence. If you're enjoying this look into some of the darkest stories in NFL history, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Lawrence Phillips was once hailed as one of the most talented running backs to come out of college football, but his NFL career was cut short by a series of violent incidents and criminal behavior. From multiple domestic abuse cases to assault charges, Phillips' life off the field was as turbulent as it was tragic. Phillips struggled with anger and violence throughout his career. After a series of failed comeback attempts in the NFL, he found himself in prison, facing a 31-year sentence for assault with a deadly weapon. While incarcerated, Phillips was accused of murdering his cellmate, further cementing his reputation as a man whose potential was overshadowed by his violent tendencies. In 2016, Phillips was found dead in his prison cell, having taken his own life. His death marked the end of a tragic story, a once promising athlete who never escaped the demons that haunted him. Lawrence Phillips' life serves as a cautionary tale of unfulfilled talent and unchecked rage. O.J. Simpson was more than just a football player. He was a cultural icon. But in 1994, his life took a dramatic and violent turn when he was accused of the brutal murders of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ronald Goldman. The trial captivated the nation, with high-profile lawyers, celebrity witnesses, and the now iconic white Bronco chase. The O.J. Simpson case became the most famous legal battle of the 20th century. Despite being acquitted of the murders, the civil case that followed found Simpson liable for their deaths. In the years following the trial, Simpson's life continued to unravel. In 2007, he was convicted of armed robbery and kidnapping in Las Vegas, adding yet another dark chapter to an already infamous life. O.J. Simpson's story remains one of the most polarizing and enduring sagas in both NFL and American history. Adam "Pac-Man" Jones was a feared cornerback on the field, but off the field, his career was riddled with controversy. From multiple arrests to a notorious Las Vegas strip club shooting that left a man paralyzed, Jones became infamous for his legal troubles. While Jones eventually made a comeback in the NFL, his early years in the league were defined by violence and chaos. From public brawls to traffic incidents and even assaulting a police officer, Jones' rap sheet became as well known as his football highlights. In recent years, Jones has spoken openly about his mistakes, claiming to have turned his life around. But the legacy of his troubled past still hangs over his career, serving as a reminder that success on the field doesn't always translate to a peaceful life off it. In 2012, Kansas City Chiefs linebacker Javon Belcher committed an unthinkable act that shook the NFL to its core. In a tragic murder-suicide, Belcher shot and killed his girlfriend, Cassandra Perkins, before driving to the Chiefs' practice facility and taking his own life in front of the team's coaching staff. The incident brought renewed attention to the pressures faced by NFL players, as well as the toll that mental health struggles can take on an individual. Belcher's actions left behind a grieving family and a baby daughter, Zoe, who would never know her parents. The murder-suicide also raised questions about the role of CTE and concussions in shaping the behaviors of players. While Belcher's motives remain unclear, his story serves as a tragic reminder of the dangers of untreated mental health issues in the sport. Ray Rice was one of the most respected running backs in the NFL, known for his powerful runs and leadership with the Baltimore Ravens. But in 2014, his career came to an abrupt end when footage emerged of Rice punching his then-fiancée, Janae Palmer, in an elevator. The video, which showed Rice striking Palmer and then dragging her unconscious body out of the elevator, shocked the world and led to widespread outrage. The NFL initially handed Rice a 2-game suspension, but after the video surfaced, he was suspended indefinitely. Though Rice and Palmer later married, and Rice had since worked to rebuild his personal life, the incident effectively ended his football career. The Ray Rice case sparked a national conversation about domestic violence, player discipline, and the role of the NFL in addressing these issues. Junior Seau was one of the most beloved and respected players in NFL history, known for his relentless style and leadership on the field. But in 2012, Seau tragically took his own life, shooting himself in the chest, a method many believe was intended to preserve his brain for CTE research. Seau's death sent shockwaves through the NFL community. His brain was later examined and found to show significant signs of chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE, a degenerative brain disease caused by repeated head trauma. CTE had been linked to mood swings, depression, and violent behavior, raising questions about the long-term safety of playing football. Seau's death became a turning point in the NFL's approach to player safety, leading to increased awareness and reforms regarding concussion protocols. But for Seau's family, the damage had already been done, and his tragic death remains a stark warning about the unseen dangers that come with the game. These stories serve as chilling reminders that the NFL, like any other part of life, isn't immune to tragedy, violence, or human failure. For every legend, there is a dark side, a side the public rarely sees. But it's in confronting these stories that we truly understand the complexity of the game, the men who played it, and the human condition itself. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more NFL content. Your support fuels our drive to produce the best content possible. We'll see you in the next one.